Shalom, today's Daf Yomi is Berachos Daf Lamed Zayin, Berachos 37. Today's Daf Yomi, the Gemara is discussing what blessing we make on rice. And so says our Gemara, the Gemara is questioning, is the blessing over rice going to be mizonos or hamotzi? Is it going to, what's it similar to? Or is it perhaps a shahakol? So our Gemara cites a brisa, Heviu a fun of pas orez upas doch, and if they brought before somebody a type of bread, which is orez bread, which is generally translated as rice bread, or pas dochen, which is a type of millet bread. These are not from the typical 5 grains that we generally associate with hamotzi. So we say under these blessings, Berachos tchila v'sov kamase kedera. So the brisa says he recites on it a bracha at the beginning, at the end, as though it was a maisa kedera, which is generally speaking something that was made in a pot, like a type of cereal. So v'gabe maisa kedera tanya, and what blessing would we make on a maisa kedera? But tchilo mevarcho of bore minei mizonos. So here the brisa says that the first blessing we say on it is bore minei mizonos, the one who creates the types of mizonos, something that sustains us. And at the end, after eating this bread from rice and bread from millet, we would recite the blessing known as al milchya. So the Gemara is questioning, doesn't this mean that the orez is like a mizonos? So the Gemara says, no, it's not exactly like a maisa kedera. Kim maisa kedera, v'lo maisa kedera. It's like something that's made in a pot, but not exactly. Kim maisa kedera, it's like these types of grains that were made in pot, the mevarchano of tchila v'sof, that requires a blessing before and afterwards. V'lo kamasa kedera, but it's not exactly like it. The b'maisa kedera b'tchila borei minei mizonos u'v'sof brachas minei sholosh. But the maisa kedera has this blessing of mizonos before it and ala milchya afterwards. Over here, with respect to the rice bread and the dochem bread, b'tchila mevarcho of shahakol niyabedvaro. Here, the blessing beforehand is a shahakol, which is not associated with the grain at all, that everything it came into being through God's word. In the end, we say the blessing after eating it that we typically reserve for shahakol, which is the one who creates the numerous living things. So we see from here that orez is not going to be, rice is not going to be a mizonos. So the Gemara says, what are you talking about? Orez lav maisa kedera, but we have a different source that says that rice is indeed going to be considered to be an action from a pot. But we learned Elohein Maisa Kedera. We learned that these are the things that are going to be considered to be Maisa Kedera. And what are those things that you would make a mizonos on? Chilka, which is a type of grits, which is split into 2. Teragis, if it was these grits split into thirds, or soas, or fine flour, or zariz, or grits split into quarters, v'arson, or into fifths, v'orez, and rice. So we see specifically speaking that the rice is considered to be a Maisa Kedera. So the Gemara says, no, that position, that rice is considered to be a Maisa Kedera, that's a minority position. That's the position of Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri. What did Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri teach? He says, Orez min dagan, who Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri was of the position that Orez is a type of grain. And therefore, chayav al chimuto kares. Therefore, a person who eats this grain on Pesach, if in a circumstance that one would normally eat bread, would be liable for eating bread on Pesach. Somebody who eats it, if it ferments, he's going to be liable for kares on Pesach. And so too, adam yotzei bel yidei chavasa Pesach. If he does not allow the grain to ferment, you could eat the rice as matzah on Pesach and fulfill your obligation of eating matzah on Pesach. So according to Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri, then the rice is going to be a maisa kedera, and therefore you'd make a mizonos on it if it's cooked in a pot. However, according to the Rabbanan, they argue and they say that orez is not a maisa kedera, and it's not going to be that blessing. So the Gemara says, is it really the case? The Rabbanan lo, the rabbis really not think it's a maisa kedera, but we have another brisa which says hakoses esachita, and then the brisa goes on. We're not going to say the whole thing, but the brisa discusses one who chews and swallows different foods, and then at the conclusion of that brisa, it says hakoses esa orez mevarach borei pri adama. That one who chews the raw rice is going to make a blessing of borei pri adama because it's like in its raw state coming from the ground. However, techanu afal bishlot, but if one grinds it, bakes it, and cooks it, then afal pisha prusos kayamos, even though the pieces of the bread are intact, we say betchilo mevarach borei minei mizonos. At the beginning, we recite a borei minei mizonos, and at the end, we make a bracha achas me'en shalosh. We make a blessing ala milchya. And the Gemara, the Brisa proves that position has to be the position of the rabbis and not the position of Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri. And so therefore we see from here that that is indeed the position of the rabbis, that orez, that even though the orez is not like the one of the 5 species of bread, it's still going to be a mezonos on the orez bread. And so that is indeed, the Gemara says, Tiyufta de Rav Shmuel, that is a refutation of Rav Shmuel, and Tiyufta, it is indeed a refutation, and therefore we say, for this reason, if the rice is cooked, we say a mezonos on this rice. The Chashukei Chemed discusses a situation where a person went to China, and on his visit to China, they gave him the bread, and he made a motzi on the bread, and then after he took a bite of it, he found out that the bread was actually rice bread, where we learn from here that rice bread is not a motzi, it's a mizonos. So the Chashukei Chemed wonders, can we say that after the fact the person fulfilled his obligation by making the blessing of a motzi on the rice bread? Because there is a position in the Talmud that rice bread is a motzi, that would be Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri, and also in China that is the bread of the country. They typically would eat rice bread. He says, however, no, we cannot conclude like that because the Ritva already rules that that's not the case. You haven't fulfilled your obligation. So even in a situation where a person makes a motzi on rice bread, it'd have to go back and make another blessing of mezonos on the rice bread.